So I remember when I was a kid, my mom had this pink office that had a big skylight in it. And I remember walking by her office, and she'd be leaning back in a chair, giggling and flirting with the phone. And it took a little while, but she started to receive letters and other sorts of things from this mysterious person on the other side of the phone. And eventually I got to see what he looked like, as he sent this photograph of himself on the beach. And she had it pinned up on her floorboard. And my dad walked in and at some point and moved the thumbtacks so that they went right through the mystery guy's head off. And then just a couple months later, my mom said that she was going to go away for a while. And that our nanny from when we were kids, she was going to come back and look after us. And she is this big Jamaican, jolly Jamaican lady. We were all really excited that Joyce was going to come back. But we didn't know that that equated to the fact that my mom would be gone for about 3 months. We didn't see her, hear from her, anything like that. My dad would just sit in his big wing chair in front of the TV, drink beer and eat vanilla ice cream and watch golf all day. So we just interacted with the nanny all the time. Anyway, she came back after 3 months and she said that she'd gotten married to the mystery man. His name is Mick. And when I met him, he was just so full of charisma and life, and he was everything that my dad wasn't. My dad was like cold and weak and fat and lazy. And my new stepdad, Mick, was very muscular, arms like tree trunks. And his smile would light up the room. And he just engaged anybody who would ever, get into a conversation with him. So we were really excited that he was going to be our stepdad. And my mom disappeared again with Mick, moved down to Florida, and she sent for us. And Nanny Joyce packed up all of our things. And just in this really whirlwind, spontaneous night, put us into the back of the Volvo. And we peeled out of the driveway with my dad chasing the car, like screaming, "You nigger, bring my children back. God damn it, bring my children back." And I just saw him getting smaller and smaller, and then we were "fuck you" here in the car. And we drove down to Florida. And Mick, quickly became the dad that we never had. And just fun, involved, engaged. But as I got a bit older, the cracks started to show. He was a Marine Corps veteran. He went to Vietnam. He was a Vietnam vet. And I remember the first nights of weirdness. The sprinklers would go off or something like that. The washing machine would turn on, and he'd go ballistic and go underneath his bed where he kept this huge arsenal of weapons. He had semi-automatics, 9mm, grenades, black bags, brass knuckles, all that kind of stuff underneath the bed. And he'd grab a weapon of choice and just kind of stalk around the house just to make sure that Charlie wasn't in the house somewhere. He came into our room with guns and that sort of thing. But I still saw him as a hero, that he was protecting us. But he started to decline even more. And I remember I was about 16 years old. And I just noticed that he would slur his speech. He'd stumble around the house. He showed up to my hoity-toity private school and would be so drunk or on whatever he was on that he'd hop the curb in front of all my classmates. He'd stumble out of the car. And he's wearing always wore these lycra spandex shorts, gym shorts. He had a big brace on his knee. He said it was from jumping out of planes or something. And he'd wear these knee-high socks, orthopedic shoes, and a big World's Gym t-shirt where he cut the sleeves out. His phone was open all the way down to the middle of his body. Anyway, he comes stumbling out of the car, stalking all over campus, saying, "Have you seen my daughter, Jennifer Rutter? Have you seen her anywhere?" Just mortifying. And I started getting really angry because here was, the pinnacle of masculinity and strength and everything that I wanted in a dad, and it was just kind of crumbling into pieces. And I remember my mom collected his medical records, and she had them sitting in the car. She went into a shop or something, so I just started looking through the medical records. And I realized that he was seeing 4 different doctors for the same thing, which was his knee. And they were all giving him Oxycontin, which is basically medicinal heroin. And he was getting quadruple the dosage. He just take fistfuls of the stuff and chase it with a fifth of vodka. And I remember coming home, in bed, just completely comatose, and a fifth of vodka would be empty on the floor. And found needles in the bathroom and things like that. And he just started slipping away more and more. My mom started getting more and more frustrated. She took him to the Veterans Hospital to try and get him seen to, and every time he was getting help. And there was one time he was comatose, and she called the ambulance to come, the paramedics, and he just it was fine, he put on an act. And anyway, there was one occasion where my stepdad had this compulsion where on the cell phone, the end button and the send button were the same button. So he just kept pressing the same button over and over, thinking he was ending the call. But there's one occasion where he called my mom back, and she decided to keep listening to the phone conversation. And she heard prostitutes in the background, like asking my stepdad if he wanted a bath. And she would come to me and sort of talk to me about how their relationship was falling apart. And here it was, this huge romantic way that they'd come together, and it just seemed like a movie. But the older I got, the more I realized that they were kind of forcing it to be that way. And he was trying to be something he wasn't. But my mom took me up to university to go check out the school that I was interested in. It was about 1,000 miles away from home. And I remember the whole time we were there, right at the hotel room, she kept fighting with my stepdad on the phone. And just over and over, it was relentless. And I remember getting so frustrated, telling her to stop antagonizing him and talking about the prostitutes and the drugs and everything else. And that she should just leave him if that was the issue. And I think she just liked the chaos and she liked the drama. But anyway, she got into one conversation with him. I could just see her kind of tense up. She was terrified. And apparently he said, "I love you," and then hung up the phone. And for some reason, she just guessed that he was going to try and harm himself. So she called the police, all the way from St. Louis. She called the police in Florida and check on him. And at the time, my little sister had gone to stay with her friends. And the only one who was home was my little brother, Todd. And the police arrived at the door, and Todd answered the door. And they said, "We're looking for your stepdad. Is everything okay?" And as soon as they had said that, my stepdad, Nick, walked out of the bedroom with a gun to his head. And the police ushered my little brother out in front of the house. They followed him around the back. And my stepdad, I think, lowered his arms for a minute, lowered the gun for a minute, just to tell the police that it wasn't their fault, that he was sorry. And just in a split second, he pulled the trigger and shot himself in the back lawn. And my little brother said that he heard the gunshot and all that, obviously, the whole neighborhood would have. And anyway, my mom had no idea that any of this was happening, and she kept calling, and finally she reached the sergeant or something like that, and she was, "I think my husband's trying to commit suicide." And they said, "We think he's successful." He's been successful. And I heard that through the phone. My mom just fell and it hit the mirror in the hotel room, and she just crumpled into a heap. And we flew back home, and on the flight, she kept looking for my stepdad, looking under the chairs and everything else to see if she could find him. And she'd just she went nuts, and I had to have her sedated. I took her to the hospital and had her sedated. And the funeral was just bizarre. It was so surreal. My mom insisted on having a wake, which is just, it's pretty demented for someone who fuck off! And they tried to sew his face back together. There were all these sutures across the top of his head. And they tried to glue his eyelashes back on, but fuck looked like human anymore. The only thing that made me realize that it was my stepdad was that was his hands still looked the same. He had his Marine Corps tattoos on his forearms. But he was cold and he wasn't breathing. But it was really, really strange. And after the funeral, we all went to a theme park. Me and my family, we all went to a theme park. Fuck off! We just felt like we had to do that. But I guess the saddest thing of all was on the morning that I left to go check out that university around the way to the airport. My stepdad was in some sort of drug state or drunken state. He was yelling at my little brother. And my little brother just worshipped Nick. Just totally looked up to him. And I could just see that with every word that Nick said, my little brother just crumbled a bit more and more. And so I said, Nick, stop yelling at Todd. And he turned around and said, fuck off, fuck off! And that was the last thing he ever said to me. That's it. Fuck off. That's it. Fuck off. Fuck off! Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.